Well, first of all, thank you very, very much. And you have been working so hard doing all these recordings and doing all this. A massive thank you to you for all the hard work that you've been putting in. So thank you for that. A bold and daring life. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because for the longest time, I hid in my life. I was very anxious, I was very nervous, I was very scared of people, and I hid a lot. I would walk around on the street not looking at people, head down, not sure of myself. And I didn't like myself, and I didn't like the world, and I didn't like other people very much, especially people that I didn't know. I had my friends and people that I knew, but anybody, new people, strangers, anything, I didn't, I didn't like that. And then when I came across this understanding of the mind that these webinars are all about, when I came across that, I saw the world incredibly differently. I saw people very, very differently. It totally changed my view of everything, really, absolutely everything. It totally changed it for me. And one of the things I remember reading about a man called Buckminster Fuller. And if you haven't heard of him, go and find out about him, because he was an amazing man. He was way, way, way forward of his time, and he did some amazing things in the world. And I can't remember the details, and forgive me if I get them absolutely wrong, but I remember reading, that I think his wife and his child died or something, and he got to a place when he was incredibly depressed and incredibly low, and he intended to commit suicide, and his suicide attempt failed. So he was still alive, but he was in this place, and he kind of thought, well, I'm absolutely fed up with life. I'm done with life. So I wonder, there's nothing riding on it for me now, because I'm just done. So what will happen if I just try to create stuff, if I just try to do stuff and be helpful while I'm here? Because, I don't care what happens to me. And he was an amazing man, and the things that he gave to humanity when he came from that place of just, what can I create? What can I do? And a part of me, when I kind of found out about him and heard about what he'd done, I kind of thought the same. I thought, do you know what? Half your life, more than half my life, for the longest time, I've kind of hidden and not done anything, and not kind of got out there. And I thought, well, what's the worst that can happen if you do? Why don't you just try and create a life that you would absolutely love to have, and you either will or you won't. It will either work that way or it won't. So let's kind of go for it and do it. And I've been learning about thought and the role that thought plays in how our moment-to-moment experience is created. I'd kind of learned that when I had these scary thoughts, when I thought people were talking about me and didn't like me and all that, I didn't have to take notice of those thoughts if I didn't want to. And so I thought, let's just play this game. Let's see what we can do. And so that's what I've been doing really for quite a while now, just creating a business and creating one of the things that is absolutely paramount in everything I do is, let's just have some fun. Let's not take this too seriously, and let's just have some fun. Let's, go out and enjoy myself, do things that I love to do. If there's something that I really want to do and would really love to do it, let's do it. So a couple of years ago, I went and did a zip wire, did the highest and longest zip wire in Europe. And I am literally terrified of heights. It was so far out of my comfort zone, so far out of anything. And I was like, well, let's see if you can. You've been looking towards this truth of who you are. You've been looking, towards the spiritual side of life. You've been looking, what about, learning who you are. I wonder if what you have learned about that will enable you to do something that you would never have done before. And this was absolutely very high on that list. My children were like, you'll never do that, Mum. Why have you booked that and paid money to do that? You won't do it. You'll get there and there's no way you will do it. And it was really, really interesting to kind of Um, go there, and I hold my hands up. There were times when I was absolutely terrified. My thinking was going crazy. But I'd started to see that it's amazing what we are capable of as human beings, even when our thinking is screaming at us that we can't do something. You know, if we just kind of take it steady, and certainly for me, it was understanding that I am more than just those thoughts. There is something more to me than just that thinking, and I don't have to listen to it. And as I said, it was all about experimenting, and, and I was completely okay whether I did it or whether I didn't. It's just like, let's see. And so very much when we were kind of at the top of this huge, I could see for miles, I was kind of like, don't look. It was absolutely terrifying. But it was literally like, put your next foot forward. Put your next foot forward. And there's somebody who puts you onto this zip wire, because it's absolutely huge. You have to go like in, you don't just go and do it yourself. You have to be strapped into a special harness. So they're waiting for you. And we're absolutely right at the top of this huge, great quarry. And it's literally, they're kind of like, lift your left arm, lift your arm, lift your right arm, move. And it's absolutely staying in that moment and just doing what's next. And I've been amazed, not only I did the zip wire, and the moment that I was let go off the side of this quarry, it was the freedom, and it was just amazing. It was just brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I'm thinking of doing a skydive next. I'm still a little bit nervous about that, but that I'm gonna see what's the worst that can happen. I won't do it. But absolutely kind of seeing this experiment with life, experiment with what is going on. And it is amazing. Human beings, we have such resilience, and we're part of the creative essence of this universe. And when you stop for a minute, there's a window here where I am, and I can see out of this window, and there's grass, and there's daisies on the grass, and there's beautiful trees, and there's flowers coming. It's amazing. Nature creates amazing things, and we're not separate from that. We're part of that creation. That's what we have flowing through us. And we get to use that creative power in any way we want to. And what I could see that I did for the longest time was use that creative power against myself. Instead of using it to experiment and play around and find out what I was capable of, find out what I could do, having a talk with you like this live on YouTube and live around somewhere would have just been like, absolutely no way. What if somebody didn't like me? What if what if my sister watched this and thought something bad about me? Or, a friend of mine, what if they saw me talking like this? I can't, what if my hair's not right? All this thinking would be going on, and I wouldn't do things, it would hold me back, and I just wouldn't do it. And now it's kind of, I can still have that kind of thinking sometimes. Before we got on, an hour before we started this, I suddenly remembered, oh yeah, I've got that thing tonight with Anne. I've got to be talking. And my mind, my stomach did a bit of a somersault, and my mind's got, oh, tell her you can't, tell her you don't feel very well, tell her you can't do it. It's, my mind can still do that. We can still have that thinking. But again, a little bit like when you're on that zip wire, anywhere, you can begin to see that there's something more to you than just those thoughts. And when you don't buy into that thinking, when you don't go down that path, we're designed to succeed. We're designed to do amazing things in the world. Human beings are awesome. We have this gift. We have this deeper spiritual side that can sometimes sound a little bit woo-woo, what have you, but it's not. It's so normal, it's so ordinary, it's so everyday, and we have that running through us, and we have the ability to be human and be out in the world and experiment and play. And I'm not saying that things don't happen to human beings. So since I've been playing this game, if you like, since I've been doing these things and having fun doing zip wires and selling my house and starting a business and doing all sorts of things. It's not that things don't happen. My middle daughter had a baby. He's 12 weeks old now, absolutely gorgeous. You know, I'm a grandma for the first time, and that's been really exciting. It's been really lovely. But there's been some problems. You know, there was he's been in hospital. My daughter's been poorly, and the baby has been poorly, and there's been some absolutely, you know, nail-biting moments. And as a new grandma with this tiny, gorgeous little boy, I've had my moment. You know, I've cried sometimes. There's been some things that have happened that I absolutely would not have wanted to happen. So it's not that life stops happening to you. It's not that, you know, people that we love get ill, people that we love die, people, you know, we're born, we grow up, we do, life does what life does. But when we understand that there is something more to us than this body, there is something more to us than just the human side of us, when we see this deeper part of who we are, when we connect with that, we find that there's a space within us that somehow when we connect to that, or my experience has certainly been, when I connect with that place in me, I know I'm okay. And like when I've been with my daughter and supporting her through some of the things, one of the things that's helped her the most is me knowing that I'm okay and me knowing that she is too, kind of giving her the confidence with her brand new baby, with all the problems that were going on, kind of knowing she's got this, you know. And I just say to her, do you know what? You have got the creative essence of the universe running through you. I know there are moments when this feels incredibly scary and like you can't do this, but you've got this, you've got it. And pointing somebody back to that place within them, because it's true, and because it's true of all of us. You know, there's nothing special about me. There's nothing, well, if I say there's nothing special about my daughter or my grandson, of course there is, because but you know, there's nothing different about any of us. You know, I'm no different to you or to anybody listening to this. And however old you are, you know, you're no different. You've got this too. And it's only the thinking that we have that says, no, not this. You haven't got this. You weren't built to do this. This shouldn't have happened. And when we realize that, we don't have to listen to that thinking. And if we can look beyond that thinking, look within us to something beyond those thoughts, it is amazing. I have watched my daughter blossom and grow and become a absolutely amazing mom to Zach. She is brilliant. And I think if it hadn't been for the you know, the fact that she had a baby and she wants to be a good mom, I don't know whether she would have believed me when I was pointing to that place within her. But because it's kind of like, no, I really want to do this, I'm going to find a way. And then when I pointed towards it, she looks. Because I think very often it's very easy as human beings for us to be like, no, I'm different. I'm the one who hasn't got that. I'm the one who's useless. I'm the one who's rubbish and can't. You know, my depression is, you know, no, it's different to everybody else's, or whatever it is that's going on. It's very easy for us to go there. Instead of, I think it sometimes takes some courage to look. I think, you know, it sometimes we have to kind of get a little bit stern with ourselves maybe and go, come on, you can do this, and actually dare to look in that direction. Certainly when I was up there doing that zip wire, there was many, many moments when I wanted to turn and run away, you know, and go, no, I can't do this. But if we take the time and look, because what we're pointing to here is a truth, and it's a universal truth. There's nobody who hasn't got within them the answers they need for whatever it is that's going on for them. And I know, you know, sometimes that can be like, really? And I know sometimes, you know, some of the clients that I work with, some people, they'll come to have conversations with me, and they'll come with all sorts of things that are going on in their life. And sometimes when people begin to tell me some of the things that are going on, I'm really glad that I don't have to be the one with the answers to those things, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, wow, oh, that does sound really scary. That does sound, I don't know how I would feel if that was me. But I know that my job is to point them inside to this place in them that I'm talking about, because I have literally been blown away by people who have told me, about their loved ones who have died, people close to them, and illnesses that they have got, and terrible things that have happened to them. And I'm kind of like, oh, and you begin to point them back. And then what you see in these people, as they begin to see this, they tell you the answers to their problems. They start to say, hey, do you know what? I know this thing happened, but I saw this today, that something happened to me. I saw a fox, and I could see my grandma in this, I know that she's still, whatever it is. And even if it doesn't, even if to me, I'm like, I would never have thought to maybe say that or point somebody towards that. But because we have this inner guidance, because we have this knowing within us, when something like that comes to us, it makes sense to us. As I've said with my daughter with the problems, Zach became very, very poorly at one point. He was in hospital and he was incredibly poorly. And all I knew to do was be there for her. All I knew to do was remind her that she had everything that she needed. And there were moments when I had the feeling, this isn't enough. You can absolutely feel like that. And yet, I could see that that was absolutely enough for her to know what was within her. And that it was amazing to watch what she did and what she came up with and how she dealt with that. And all around the world, we can see evidence of this in so many places. When we see, you only have to turn on the television when the Paralympics are on or something, and you see those people who have lost limbs, and all sorts of things have happened. And yet the amazing resilience and the ways that human beings find of getting around things, that seem initially as if they are, that's it, a little bit like Buckminster Fuller, who I was talking about at the beginning, that's it, I'm done. There's been too much here. There's no way forward from this. And yet, if we have the courage to look, there is nothing that I have found, and anybody I've spoken to, if something is going on, if you're listening to this and something is going on for you, just try it. What have you got to lose? And trust me, if you have got the courage to look within you, no matter what it is that's going on for you, no matter what, there is nothing outside of this. You will have answers within you that will probably amaze you.
So you said a moment ago that we have this essence of life flowing through us, all of us, and you said something about when you connect with that, and I'm sure people might be wondering, well, how do you connect with that? How do you do that?
Well, for me, in my personal experience, the first thing was that if I look back over my life, I can see that I was always connecting with that without even realizing that I was doing it. When I look back at some of the things that had happened to me, and I kind of, in the moment when those things were going on, I was like, oh my gosh, no, not this. When I look back at them, I can see, do you know what? I was actually okay. And that is what I'm pointing to, that we are always connected to this. What I have found incredibly helpful, and what really changed things around for me, was when I understood that and saw it, and then started to look for the evidence of it, I saw this was something that was true about me. We're not kind of talking about something here that you haven't got until you understand it. I'd always got that connection. And we're always actually connected to that place within us. But what can happen to us as human beings is we've got the gift of thought. And, we can kind of innocently misuse that gift against ourselves. We can have the thought that I'm not good enough, and any version of I'm not good enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not small enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not, my hair's not, whatever, across the board. And we can believe that that thought is true. And when we believe that our thinking, those kinds of thoughts, when we believe that they are true, we feel uncomfortable, we feel pain. And that pain is indicating to us, it's not telling us that we're right about whatever it is that we think wrong with us, although it appears that way. That's not what it's telling us at all. It's actually telling us, it's warning us that we are trying to disconnect from this place within us. We will never be successful. We will never disconnect from it. But it's almost like, if you wanted to pull your arm off or something, if I started pulling my arm, it's even just that I can feel that it doesn't feel right. And the pain is saying, stop trying to disconnect your arm. You won't do it. So stop it. It's not a good thing. And when we try to disconnect from this truth of who we are, we feel the pain of that pulling. It's not nice. And the pain isn't telling us that we're right about whatever it is and we need to change anything. It's telling us that we're attempting to do something that we will never do. And if we stop doing that, which we inevitably will at some point, we go back into this knowing of this connection and feeling okay.
So it sounds to me like you're not even saying that you're using connection as a word, but actually it's not even a connection. It's who we are, and it's who we are. So we can't possibly disconnect from it. Right.
We can't. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some times when I describe it's like, if you imagine plasticine, okay, imagine a big lump of plasticine. So from that plasticine, you might make a car, you might make a person, you might make, all sorts of things we can make out of plasticine. And so then you might call them, oh, look at this, look what I've made. It's a car, look what I've made a little person, I've made this. And we might call it that, but the plasticine, this thing can never stop being plasticine, because that's the essence of what it is. And if you hammer it down and start to do something else, whatever you do to it, it cannot stop being plasticine, even if you call it something else, because you make something out of it. And that's that's who we are. Even though we are called human beings and we're very human and we do human things, the essence of what we're made of can never be removed from us. Even if we totally see ourselves as just human and don't see the deeper connection. Words are a little bit difficult to, we can get tripped up by words, but even if we don't see that, that's the reason we can't disconnect. That's the reason we can't, because it's the essence of who we are. And even if we were pummeled like that plasticine, that bit can't be removed from us. It's not possible. And that's why, when you begin to point people back towards that, when you kind of tell them to, or guide them to look for that, kind of say, I know that you think you're totally a person, but look for the plasticine that you're made from. You'll find it, because it's true.
Yeah. So I have another question to ask, but I'm just going to remind people who are listening live, that they can actually ask questions if they want to. You can type questions into the chat box if you'd like to. And if you'd like to come on to the screen, you can also do that. You can put your hand up and let me know that you want to do that. But in the meantime, while we're waiting to see if anyone does have any questions, you mentioned that this is a spiritual understanding, and you've talked about this essence, but are you saying that it's a religion of some sort?
No, not at all. It's not a religious thing. And I had a religious upbringing. I haven't got any problem with any religions. And I think religions have sprung up around this deeper spiritual understanding. But this isn't about religion. You can be religious and see this, or not be religious and see this. You know, this it's for everybody. It's not particular to a religion at all. It's something fundamental about every human being, you know, whatever, big, small, you know, black, white, whatever. It's all inclusive, it's absolutely everybody, and it's absolutely not particular to any religion. And you know, some of the people that I know that have come across this that are religious have kind of said this absolutely, you know, I feel like I've reconnected with God. I found God. I can really see my religion in this. So if you are religious, this isn't something that you think, you know, oh gosh, I've got to stay away from that because it's, you know, it goes against my religion. In my, you know, what I've seen, I don't think it goes against any religion. Equally, if you're the kind of person who's kind of thinking, yeah, well, God's not my kind of guy, I'm just not into any sort of religion, then that doesn't matter either. You know, we're not pointing towards a religion at all.
I was just remembering about how you hearing your story is amazing, really, because ever since I've known you, you've been bubbly and very, very happy and very outgoing and so on. So it was reminding me, and so to hear your story of how you used to be might be quite difficult for people to even imagine, really. But I was just remembering when we first met, about, well, just over a year ago now, isn't it? When I was doing some Facebook Lives for Mental Health Awareness Week, yeah. And Beck, who's been on already,
yep,
and is your niece, yes, who works with you. She got in touch with me, and I had never heard of either of you, and she got in touch with me, right? She got in touch with me and said, "Oh, we were going to do a Facebook Live. Can we? But we've seen that you're doing them, so could we come on yours?" And I'm like, "Right, okay. Who are these people?"
Crazy people.
Who are these people? And I was like, and I just checked that you did have the understanding right before, and then I said, "Yeah, okay, why not? You know, you just that you were talking about the same thing that I was talking about." Yeah. And then you came on, and we just had such a laugh, and have had such a lot of laughs ever since. You know, because you really are always doing what you said. Always. Okay, so let me just have a see what this chat is. Okay, so this is from Dawn, says, "Thank you both. This all makes wonderful sense. I missed the first bit, so we'll have to watch the replay." Yeah, fine.
Well, it's good to have you with us, Dawn.
Yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, just tell us what you're up to now then. So you started your business, and how has life gone? I know you've had fun doing all of those things. So what are you up to?
Yeah, our rule is if it's not fun, don't do it. So we're always having lots of fun. So yeah, a year ago we met you, and that was when Beck and Lucy, my other niece, actually moved down here. We all originally come from the Midlands, and we live now in Devon, and yeah, so a year ago Beck and Lucy moved down here to do this business with me. We've all moved in together into a big house. And it is an absolute testament to our understanding that we all live together. You know, there's my partner, my son, and then Lucy and Becky and me. So there's quite a lot of us here. Yeah, but absolutely our rule around the business is if it's not fun, we don't do it. So what are we doing at the moment? At the moment, we're about to actually, in July, we're actually going to do in our Facebook group, we're actually going to do a 5-day challenge all about getting to know yourself, because we really like having fun things. So if anyone wants to know about that, you know, find me. Like you said, I'm all over Facebook, Deborah Simmons. You can find me anywhere on Facebook. We're not quiet. We're not Wallflowers anymore. So you can find us there. We're doing this 5-day challenge in our Facebook group, and we're just about to start talking about that. And we've also got down in North Devon here in November, we've got a conference. We had a conference last year, and it was we just had an absolute ball. It was just brilliant. We had some absolutely fabulous speakers. It was just great. And so we're doing that again in November this year. And again, if people want to, I don't know whether you can put links or anything underneath these videos, but certainly, you know, get in touch if you'd like to do that. And we're also doing a series of videos at the moment, and we're very, very keen. We've been kind of saying to people, if there's something that isn't making sense to you, you know, if you've heard something like this or any of the things that Anne has been putting out or anything, if something is kind of like, well, no, I don't know what you mean by that, or that doesn't make sense, or anything like that, if you get in touch with us with the question, we will make you a video kind of explaining whatever it is. So we're doing that at the moment. We're doing that, and we're putting videos out on our YouTube channel, which is Dare to Be You, because that is the name of our business. So you can find us by looking for Deborah Simmons or Dare to Be You. You can find us anywhere: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. We're not hiding.
All the links, that you've got an actual page on thesecretofeverything.com.
Okay, yeah, so
the links are. So there will be a link to that underneath the video. And also underneath the video, people can always ask more questions and leave more questions if they're watching the replay. And I will make sure that you get those, so it'll all get through one way or another.
Yeah, and absolutely, you know, we love connecting with people. We absolutely love having conversations and connecting with people. And the other thing that we're doing, if people are kind of, you know, you don't necessarily, we won't say who it is that's asked the question, because we figure that if you're misunderstanding something or not hearing or not clear, or something I'm saying doesn't make sense to you, you're probably not the only one. You know, you're probably not the only one kind of shouting at the screen and going, what did you mean by that? Will you tell me more about that? So, you know, we won't name names if you don't want any names to be named, you know, but we just feel that we're all so similar, aren't we? You know, human beings, there are no new problems. You know, if you're watching this and whatever it is you're struggling with, if you kind of, nature of a problem when a human being gets into that place is it feels like we're the only one. You know, when I used to hide, when I was scared, I used to feel like I was the only person that felt like that. You know, I would look at people around me and think, yeah, your life's sorted, you're okay, you've got enough money, you're in a good relationship, or you're okay not being in a, whatever it was. You know, the story that was running in my head was, you're okay, I'm the one that's not. You know, there's something wrong with me. It felt like I was different and I was the odd one out. And what I can see so clearly now is that just isn't true. There's no new problems. Every problem that anyone comes across, you know, it's the same. Loads of people will feel the same as that. You know, we all have the same thoughts. There's no new stuff there. It's all regurgitated, and we kind of all share it somehow.
So that just reminded me when you said that. What about money? What about money? Because, you know, you're saying have this fantastic life, do the things that you want to do, and be brave and all of that. But a lot of people are going to be thinking, yeah, well, I would if I had the money, but I don't have the money. And, you know, where do you go from there?
Well, money is a really interesting one, isn't it? And I definitely kind of think that the three things that we talk about the most in our business is we talk about life, we talk about relationships, and we talk about money, because they, you know, it seemed to me that I really struggled in my life. And the place that I really felt as if I really didn't do well was relationships. And then I had these insights around relationships, and then money was this thing that I could kind of see this understanding, and I could see this, but then money was something different. It was kind of this thing out here that had me trapped, and you can't do this and you can't because you haven't got the money. And what I saw around relationships was I saw that I'd got it backwards. I saw that I was trying to look for love and reassurance and look for my okayness out here. and it came from within me. And when I began to see it in here, I started to see it everywhere. You know, when I started to, my business is called Dare to Be You, because it was very much about, I felt like I had lost sight of who I was, because I was I was the queen of people pleasers, because I was so scared that if somebody didn't like me, I would feel even worse. So, you know, my job was to make sure you like me. And you know, I was so insecure. And when I realized, when I saw that I don't need you to like me, because I have everything I need within me. And if I like me first, amazingly, what started to happen when I started to like who I was, loads of people started to like me. You know, it's like, whoa, who knew? You know, I thought I needed you to like me so that I could like myself. And it was the opposite way around. And amazingly, I've seen the same with money. It isn't outside of this understanding at all. However much it appears to be, it isn't. And it kind of works the opposite way around. When we tell ourselves the story, well, I can't do this because I've got no money. And when I've got money, I'll do this. It's the same thing as saying, when people like me, I'll do this and I'll feel better. No, we start to feel better from inside, and these things start to happen. And when we start to understand that there is things to do, like I said about, you know, human beings, we have this inner guidance, we have it. And there is always, no matter what situation you are in, there is something that you can do, that if the story is playing, no, I can't do whatever it is I want to do, I can't even take steps to do that, because first of all, I need money. Trust me, you will have missed something. And there will be, even if it isn't yet, you know, I'm not saying, oh, you've got no money in your bank and you can go out and buy a super speedboat. What I am saying is, if that is your dream, if that is, there is some small step you can take right now in this moment towards what it is you want. Now, where you will end up and what you will get, I don't know. But I do know that in the same way as Buckminster Fuller stood in that place and said, what can I create if I just go and try to do something? Human beings, there is something about us. We're like those weebles, you know, those things. We kind of come back to some kind of amazing place. We come back to it. And when we ask the question, what can I create? What can I do? Instead of listening to the limited thinking that says, no, until you've got money, or until you're beautiful, or until you're healthy, or until you're whatever it is, you can't do anything. It is those thoughts that keep us stuck. That's it. Nothing else keeps us stuck but listening and believing those thoughts. There is always, when we get curious and look, and what's possible, when we ask that question instead and begin to look, you would be amazed what you can do without money. And you can be amazed the places that money can come from that you didn't even see. You know, the places I have had money from since I've started to look, where I just thought there was none. It's amazing what opens up. It's like the universe kind of steps in and helps you. And it's way more about learning to recognize those things, beginning to see with different eyes. And I can absolutely see that is what I did. And if I can do that, so can you.
Yeah, me too. That's my money's. I've had amazing money come to me from all sorts of directions I was not expecting or couldn't even have imagined.
No.
Couldn't even have imagined when I just thought, oh, well, I'm just going to get on with it, even though I absolutely had nothing. You know, I had no money, no income, no.
Yeah. Me too. So yeah. You know, there is a magic there. There's a magic. You know, I like that word. I love this. You know, when we decide to be bold and daring, and when we decide to do something, it's like, if we make that decision and decide to do it, it's like all sorts of things conspire to help you along that path. Now, it's not always the path we imagine it's going to be. You know, it's not always, oh yeah, don't worry about it, you'll end up with a great big pay packet just plop onto your desk. It doesn't necessarily. play out in, the ways that we imagine. But it is about beginning to see with different eyes and see possibility where initially maybe there doesn't look as if there is any. Kind of seeing things that are almost hidden in plain sight. Once we see them, it's like, duh, how did I miss that? And it's fun. It's very, very much, as you said, I had way, way, way too long where my life was serious and, oh, yes, a headache, an absolute headache and difficult. And yeah, I absolutely love just having fun.
Yeah, and that's really one of the main reasons for doing this whole series, is to make sure that young people get to hear this early on in their lives, rather than wait until as long as you did and as long as I did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't, there's nothing in my life I regret at all. And I can absolutely look back and see that there was a thread of this was always there. I just didn't know it and I didn't see it. And so very much, I'm really grateful that my children are a lot younger. They are grown up. Obviously, my daughter's had a baby. They're grown ups, but they are a lot younger than I was when I came across this. And like you, I'm kind of thinking, wow, it would just be brilliant. The things that human beings, the things that young people could get up to. Human beings are awesome, as I've said, and the things that we can create if we just move into that headspace of beginning to see that we're limitless, but for the thinking that tricks us in the moment into believing that we're not good enough. We are amazing. It is amazing what we can do.
And the other thing is, it's never too late. I mean, that's one thing. One good thing about having found it out as late in life or later in life is that people can also know that however old you are, it's never too late. It only takes a moment to see life differently.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always only ever one thought away from a completely new experience in any given moment. And like you say, if we whatever age we are, if we see something different, that's where we are in that moment. And it's brilliant then. This is when we want it, right now. So it really doesn't matter, whether you're 20, 70 or 80, whatever, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm really looking forward to my brand new grandson, who's 12 weeks old at the time of recording this. I'm really looking forward to kind of already, I'm already starting to share with him little bits. I whisper to him when he's sleeping about the truth of who he is, and what he can achieve. So it's never too early and it's never too late.
No, I think that the great thing about that is that he's less likely to get taught, because we know it at that age. I mean, we are experiencing it. We are experiencing ourselves at that age. And it's only as time goes on that we start to be taught we must listen to our thinking, and our thinking knows what it's talking about. And luckily, if he's growing up in a family like yours, hopefully he won't be listening to that.
And you know what? If he does, we're going to kind of know that's okay too. He's all right. He's still got this. He's still got, that's what I love now, with my children. I love knowing that they have their own inner wisdom and their own inner guidance. And I don't have to, obviously, I'm their mom and I like being mom to them. And I like, if they ask me, if they come to me, then I'm very happy to help in any way that I can. I also know they've got this. They're okay. And that's, anybody listening to this who's feeling lost, do you know what? You've got more than you know that you've got. You've got this. It's okay. And it's such a nice place to live from. I used to be neurotic about what might happen and feel like I had to control everything. Now I'm good to kind of know, do you know what? They've got this. It's all right. Life's the playground. Let's go play.
Well, and on that note, I think that's a really good place to stop.
Yeah, I can talk forever in case you hadn't noticed. I get a little bit excited.
You can talk as much as you like, but when you just said it, life's a playground, let's go and play, it just sounded like a really good,
it is, because these conversations are brilliant and I love them. But what I absolutely love to do as well is go and live life.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So as I said, if anyone's got any questions, you can either post them underneath the video here, or there will be links very soon to where you can get hold of Deb on Facebook or on the website and so on.
Yeah, and please, if you want to get in touch, please do. We absolutely, as you can see, I love having these conversations. So thank you, Anne. It was really, really good to talk to you.
You too. Thanks very much. And I'll be seeing you again soon.
I hope so. Take care.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.